Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello everyone, this is my very first video log made specifically for new sisters that have embraced Islam. But if any other Muslim can benefit from it, then alhamdulillah. Just some information on me and my family, especially how I came to Islam. I was born in Cuba, but we came to the United States when I was probably about 9 months old. We moved from Miami, then permanently we moved to New York City, Manhattan. And my husband is African American, and I do speak Spanish to our children. And now since our reversion, we're trying to learn Arabic, and so in order to perfect our prayers, of course. We have 4 kids, 3 under the age of 5, so you may hear them in the background and you may see my eyes kind of darting or my head moving back. It's because I'm trying to keep an eye on them. I used to work outside of my home, but when we embraced Islam, my husband wanted me to stay home with the kids. And I don't know if there are any sisters out there that are contemplating making such a move. I just wanted to tell you that, of course, the money, naturally, that second income is no longer there. But the long-term benefits outweigh that missing monetary side aspect of it. Because we all know what the long-term benefits are for children whose mothers stay at home with them. So alhamdulillah, inshallah, you take it to pray to Allah and He will make that possible for you. Both of my husband and I, we embraced Islam back in January of this year. But I always say that I think that the seeds of Islam were planted when I was probably about 6 or 7 years old. When we moved to New York City, our first family neighbor, they were Egyptian, and the little girl Mimi, I remember her taking out a rug, and I remember the different things she used to do. She never explained any of it to me, but I never asked her any questions. I was only about 6 or 7, but I was curious, and I think that curiosity kind of stayed in me. And I always found it fascinating as I grew up. I said, "Oh, that was Islam what she was doing," but I never really investigated it. Anyway, many years passed, and both my husband and I, having been raised as Christians, we decided to look for a church to settle our family into. Because I was raised in going to church and reading the Bible as my husband was, and it was a benefit to me growing up, and it kind of made the transition or at least some aspects of the transition from Christianity to Islam. It made it a little bit easier for me, and I can kind of go into that further later on. But anyway, we attended a lot of churches, but I didn't find any connection to any of them. So I think to me that was the lowest point that I was at, because I was kind of depressed about it. And so one day I just said, you know what, I'm just going to talk to God. And I did. I kind of told Him what I was feeling. And I just asked Him if He would lead me to the truth, that I would follow that path. I would stay on that path. And it's so funny because it was like the lowest point in my life, because I was feeling depressed about not having that spiritual aspect in my children's lives. And Islam just kind of popped into my head. It was kind of weird how that happened. And anyway, I studied and I researched about Islam, and I ordered some literature. I got a free Quran. And I think that immediately upon reading Quran, I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but it was instantaneous relief. It's like a burden was just lifted off of my whole being. It is so hard to explain unless you've actually been there. And Allah became real to me. He wasn't this distant entity that's unreachable. I found that I had a purpose. I found that I was created with a purpose. Everything just kind of fell into place for me. All the oohs and ahs and that light bulb just kind of going off. And that's how it was when I read the Quran. Alhamdulillah. It was just mashallah for me. I never held back anything that I was reading about Islam from my husband. I shared every single thing. And I think it was just back in January I said, honey, I've been reading about Islam, and I think I'm ready to take my Shahada. And I wasn't quite sure what his reaction would be, because this is a man that loves his beer and he loves his cigarettes, and I was like, I wasn't quite sure what his reaction would be. And for those that don't believe in Allah, don't believe in a creator, only Allah could have moved things the way he did. Because this man who loves his beer and his cigarettes dropped it all. He left all those vices behind. And I don't think that could have happened if it had not been for Allah. I really do not. So anyway, we took the Shahada and we took it together by the computer, and that's how we came to Islam. Now, I took to hijab easily, as I knew that covering modestly was not for anyone else but Allah, for Allah's pleasure. And I knew that niqab would be the next step for me, just simply because I felt it was another level of my worship that I can do to please Allah. And so anyway, so that's how I came to, or we came to Islam. Now my next video is going to deal with giving dawah. And I love those videos, I really do, on how to wrap hijabs and wear niqab, which is, by the way, how I was encouraged to wear my niqab, to go ahead and just do it. A bunch of thanks to all the sisters that take the time out to make those videos about hijab and niqab, because they really were encouraging, and they gave me that push that I needed. Anyway, I don't have any intention of doing those kinds of videos, because I couldn't wrap a band-aid, so I'm not going to scare any of the sisters away by pretending that I know how to wrap one of those scarves into a hijab, because I really don't. I stick with the khimars, the slip-on khimars. That's good enough for me. But my videos are going to be about dawah. I know that maybe someone who newly embraced Islam may not think that they're able to give dawah, but you actually are. You are fully equipped for it. And I want to show you that in the next video. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you stay tuned for my next one. Mashallah, and have a great day. Wa alaikum salam.